introduce the next speaker of the day, Ruth Abbe, Zero Waste USA President. Abbe will talk about the best practices for the cities in USA. Ruth Abbe is the president of the Zero Waste USA, the national affiliate of the Zero Waste International Alliance. The mission of the Zero Waste USA is to inspire the communities to embrace and achieve zero waste. She is a zero waste practitioner with more than 25 years of experience in recycling and composting program and facility development. So, welcome, Ruth.
Afternoon. It's been such inspiring to be here and to be with you and talking about these really important issues for worldwide achievement of zero waste and sustainability. Today, we are a national affiliate of the Zero Waste International Alliance, which is a worldwide organization that helps communities around the world to embrace and achieve zero waste. And right now I'm going to talk to you about certificate programs in sustainable resource management. Tomorrow we will have a workshop on zero waste where we'll talk about the zero waste approach. We'll talk about zero waste communities, best practices from around the world, and brand auditing, cleaning up the entire world and then keeping it clean. I think it was a great scientist who once said that doing something over and over again the exact same way and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. I think that was Albert Einstein. So we obviously have to have new models, just cleaning up without actually keeping it clean and preventing the waste and preventing the pollution in the first place. That's really what we need to focus on. In talking with Mr. Frank Avila, he said, we can talk about physical infrastructure for preventing waste, but we really need to talk about the social infrastructure for preventing waste. So this talk right now is going to be about certificate programs in sustainable resource management, which supports the zero waste culture change. So I'll be looking at it up here while I ask the gentleman to advance the slides. The first one is on business community. The second slide. There we go. Right, way up the front. All the way to the front. Sorry. The first slide? Does it go up to the first slide? That's the first one? There we go. Start there and go to the second slide. Perfect. All right, so we're going to talk about certificate programs for businesses, for communities, and for professionals. Why businesses? Businesses lead the way in zero waste. Why? Because businessmen are efficient. We want efficient businesses. If materials are going out as waste, then that's money going out the door. We want to keep our systems efficient. Businesses understand zero waste. Businesses are about efficiency. Communities. Waste management, zero waste, best happens at the municipal community level, at the household level, at the community level, as close to the point of generation as possible, because that's where we can influence the change. Dealing with waste management at the end of the pipe is not a good solution because it's, again, just keeping and cleaning it over and over and over again without stopping the waste at the source. We need programs at the community level. And for professionals, we offer certification programs for professionals because we need, zero waste is an interdisciplinary function. We need engineers, of course, but we also need sociologists and philosophers and communications professionals and folks that can really teach the tools and science about zero waste. So that's what I'll be talking about. Okay, next slide. The Zero Waste International Alliance establishes the global standards for zero waste, and it also advises the certifying organizations, which includes our national affiliates like Zero Waste USA, and also certification bodies like ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, LEED, the Green Business Certification Institute, and others to help keep a worldwide basically a standard across the world so that we can all be achieving the same levels. For the business standards, Zero Waste International Alliance has codified a series of business standards that we use with our national affiliates when we are certifying a business as zero waste. Next slide. The first is we want businesses to adopt a goal of zero waste to landfills and incineration and the environment. This is the picture of the zero waste hierarchy. At the very top is to rethink and redesign our products and packagings, the things that we bring into our world. Redesign for recyclability, redesign them for reusability, and then the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle, compost, material recovery, residuals management, and then we really want to eliminate landfill and incineration because that's really unacceptable. It's that bottom line where we don't want to go. The next step is to achieve 90% or more diversion from landfill or incineration of all materials. This is a fairly easy goal for a lot of manufacturing plants, again, because they are all about industrial design and efficiency. So we are able to certify facilities all over the world of zero waste, just like the LEED standards for green buildings. We can certify them for zero waste. And it's relatively easy for large-scale businesses to accomplish this goal. The next slide is to meet all national, state, and provincial and local solid waste recycling laws and regulations. In order to for us to certify you as zero waste, we need to make sure that you are following the rules. The next slide is to commit in writing to continuous improvement. The Japanese term is kaizen. Kaizen means plan, do, check, and act. Always, always strive for improvement. Better and better, and that way we will achieve our ultimate goal of maximizing efficiency and maximizing zero waste. Our partners in this project include TRUE, which is a standard for facilities certification, and they are a worldwide standard. They work with the Green Business Certification Institute, and they are able to work with facilities to certify them as zero waste. We're Zero Waste USA. We also work with Gaia, which is the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives. They have set very high standards for communities that really want to achieve zero waste, which includes not only zero waste, but social entrepreneurship and social development. Zero Waste Canada, Zero Waste Brazil, folks around the world that are working on these issues. And then our partners, the next slide, include the certified businesses. So these are worldwide brands: Tesla, HP, Kellogg's, Walt Disney, American Licorice, and of course a lot of food manufacturers have a very easy time of achieving zero waste standard because you don't want to waste any food at all. The next slide is about the community standards. So just as businesses are able to control what comes into their business, what comes into their facility, and have an easier time achieving zero waste, and can set a standard and set an example for the rest of the community, communities have a harder time because, you know, we're a little messy. But we do have strategies and tactics to support each other as a community, and that really happens at the point of generation and at the household and with the community, with the children, with the residents, and with the businesses. Our standard includes adopting a goal of zero waste to landfill incineration and the environment, just like the business community. The next slide is about developing a plan and a timeline. Yesterday we talked about developing action plans, and you really do need to plan first. Plan first, measure twice, cut once. It's a standard in engineering because we need to make sure that we can afford the solutions that we're identifying, that they're socially appropriate and are community-based. The next slide is to focus first on waste prevention. Oop, there we go, next slide. Which is really stopping the source before it becomes waste. This is a picture from Caponari in Italy, which was the first zero waste community in Europe. And in Caponari, they study what is being landfilled, what is going to incinerators, and they see that these are things that cannot be recycled and they cannot be composted. So if it can't be recycled and it can't be composted, it's got to be prevented. So these are pictures of coffee capsules from Lavazza, which is the major coffee manufacturer in Europe. Kapaneri wrote to Lavazza and told them, hey, look, we cannot compost and we cannot recycle your coffee capsules. You got to do something about it. And Lavazza responded by redesigning their capsule, making a reusable option and a compostable option. So community effort can work, and community effort can change the manufacturer's behavior, and they can respond to community requests on waste prevention. Start with waste prevention first. The next slide is about investing in the physical infrastructure of collection and processing. We obviously do need places to collect materials, either wet, dry, or in this case, recycling, compost, and residual, and have the collection systems and processing systems in order to appropriately get those either to back into the environment through composting or in the technical nutrients through recycling. The next slide is to invest in social infrastructure. And I think this is where we need to concentrate most of our effort. I think we have very good collection systems. I've been all around Hyderabad and I've been all around Delhi, and the collection systems are there. But what isn't there in its entirely are those social cues and those social infrastructure to actually use the collection systems that we have, right? To actually make that effort, extra effort, as they did in the university, the National Institute, to actually go to the bin and put the material in the right bin. That extra effort, that social cue to do the right thing, we have to invest in training and education. And starting with students and young people is the best way to start. This is a picture of Miss Alameda. I'm from Alameda, California, which is near San Francisco. Miss Alameda is a beauty queen. She ran for Miss California USA back in 2010 on a platform of keeping compostable organics out of landfills. She did not win, but what if she had? You know, beauty queen, zero waste beauty queen? It's awesome. And I thought I had the only zero waste beauty queen in Miss Alameda, but I met folks from the Philippines, and they have zero waste beauty queens all the time. There's always an opportunity in the Philippines to have a beauty pageant and to have zero waste beauty queens, and that's another that's a way of making zero waste as socially acceptable and an aspirational goal. If you have celebrities, beauty queens, public officials, sports enthusiasts, famous rockers are embracing zero waste, that's another way of sending that social cue to that this is the way we want to go to not only make the country clean, but to keep it clean. And then our categories of recognition are the communities that are working towards zero waste, that have adopted a goal of zero waste but haven't achieved it yet. And then we have zero waste best practices communities that include those that have already achieved 50%, have achieved 70%, 90%, and are no longer burning any material at all, and are at 90% recycling rate from landfills and incinerators. So here are our partners in the Community Recognition Program, along with Zero Waste USA and Zero Waste Canada. Zero Waste Europe has identified hundreds and hundreds of zero waste communities across Europe. Mother Earth Foundation in the Philippines works at the barangay level, which is a neighborhood level in the Philippines, where they are working at the very hyper-local level on zero waste programs. Gaia Zero Waste Youth, which is a worldwide movement empowering youth to be the leaders in zero waste, and Zero Waste Brazil is another partner with ours on this project. Here's just a snapshot of some of the zero waste communities in Europe. As you can see, covers the whole of the country of Italy. Italy has embraced zero waste, and there are over 200 communities in Italy that have declared a goal of zero waste. Here's just a snapshot of some zero waste communities in the US, a lot of them in California, but even across the country, and even in the deep south in Texas, which is down there at the bottom, Dallas. If Dallas can go zero waste, anybody can go zero waste. Our final conversation today for me is about our professional certifications. And this is important because in our universities, we don't really have so much professors of zero waste or professors of recycling. We do have environmental engineering, environmental science, but we don't necessarily have that integrated multidisciplinary program for zero waste. And so we have professional associations that have developed training programs so that we can have all of our professionals that are in this field get up to speed on all of the procedures and products for zero waste. And one of them is called the Certified Sustainable Resource Professional. This is a national program in the US. It's sponsored by the National Recycling Coalition, and it has these following standards. The next slide. Fundamental principles and practices of resource management, technical material management options, current trends in recycling practices, research and market expansion, the history of recycling and programs. I think that why we focus on the history is we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to be able to understand where we've been and where we're going. We want to learn from each other, and we want to be able to take best practices. The technical language and tools, just like any other industry, we have jargon, we have acronyms that we need to talk about and get everyone up to speed. Resource management laws, regulations, and policies at the federal level, at the state or provincial level, and at the local level. And then the next slide, full cost accounting principles, local markets for highest and best use, a communications plan for increasing public awareness, general contracts, and franchises. The gentleman was talking about in Hyderabad, what is the opportunity for entry of an entrepreneur in a city, and how can you contract with the city? What incentives will the city give you? It's really important for recycling professionals and zero waste professionals to understand contracts and contracting. The role of government in resource management, and the types of careers in resource management, and the special skills that are required. These are all really important fundamentals for resource management professionals. The next slide is a program that we have for Zero Waste USA, which takes it to the next level. We call it Zero Waste Associates. And if you go to the next slide, we have a three-class program to have a certification as a Zero Waste Associate. The first class is called Introduction to Zero Waste, and Rick Anthony from Zero Waste International Alliance will be giving a preview of that course tomorrow during our workshop. We basically talk about the zero waste approach, how zero waste is a component of sustainability, and how it's connected to climate change, social justice, and green jobs. One of the most profound things about zero waste is it is really the cheapest, fastest way that we can achieve our greenhouse gas emissions reduction goals. Why? Because so many of our discarded materials are things that are very energy intensive to produce. So if we are reducing the amount of energy, if we're recycling our materials, that creates less energy, we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Likewise, composting, actually applying compost to the land, reduces greenhouse gas emissions and actually sequesters carbon. So this is an important fundamental for zero waste. We'll also talk about the 12 categories of marketable materials, and if you stay for the next session after the tea break, Mr. Rick Anthony will give you a preview on that session. And we talk about zero waste planning and infrastructure. The next class is about zero waste principles and tools. And we talk about the global principles in zero waste, the 8 steps to becoming a zero waste community. Number 1 is just to raise awareness and set a goal of zero waste. We have community assessment tools, contracting procedures and best practices. Again, what is the relationship between the private sector and the municipality and getting the job done? And we have worked with the US EPA on an online tool that anybody can access. It's called Managing and Transforming Waste Streams, and it has 100 different strategies for zero waste and examples from across the US of examples of zero waste programs, policies, and infrastructure. And then the last class is called Zero Waste Planning. And this is where our students do an in-depth research project. They actually write a zero waste plan for a community, and they utilize all of the tools that we've covered in class 1 and class 2, and they're able, either for a community or a business, write that action plan that then is actionable for a community or a business to implement. And so they become zero waste associate professionals, and they are very hireable by government, NGOs, service providers, and others in our industry that need people with these skills and knowledge. And these are our partners in our professionals program: National Recycling Coalition, Zero Waste USA, Zero Waste Canada, and Green Education US, which actually has an online program that anyone across the world can take by going to Green Education US and becoming a part of that online platform. Thanks very much.